Welcome back, everybody. So we're here for a new episode, and this one is going to be probably a lot shorter and a little different. I thought I would go over the world history since we are anticipating the 1.13 update coming out. So, all excited for that. And while I am busy trying to upgrade the old world, or this world, and make sure nothing breaks and everything works fine, I decided that it'd probably be interesting just to go over what we've done so far, where we've been, how we've done upgrades in the past, and how we're going to do this upgrade. So, to get us started, this world that you see was started back in the 1.7 pre-release. So we started that world back then. That was about October 23rd, 2013. So that's when that came out, and then soon afterwards we had the 1.7 171, 172 pre-releases came out, and then the next day 172 final version, which was the final version of that version of Minecraft. So we built the spawn town and ended up in a big ice biome, as you can see there. So that was kind of disappointing since it's an ice biome. There's not much to it. So soon afterwards I decided to take another tunnel across to a new location to see if we can get away from the ice and create a brand new area which to build on and to explore. And so that turned out not quite as I expected. So we have the castle area, and right smack dab in the middle of a bunch of snowy mountains. So that's kind of disappointing after I dug out the nether portal, dug up, and ended up like, oh great, I'm back in the ice. So we upgraded soon to the 1.8 version, and with that came some new stuff. So then we headed out west to go exploring to see what we could find and what was out there. So we went over to the west coast, as far west as the water, and that's where we built the lighthouse. And then we also worked on building, we had a city there, a desert city, so we actually upgraded the desert city there and got that. That was quite a project. So that was kind of fun, building new houses and buildings for the existing village. So after we got done with the desert village rebuild, I headed into the nether again and traveled quite a ways to create some new land. So we popped out here in the middle of this gigantic ocean with a tiny little island, which I called Salvation Island because it was the only piece of land around. So we started a base down here in the 1.8 version, got the wizard tower, built up the land, and then kind of took a boat out looking around to see what we could find. And what we did find was some of the new mesa biome, which is kind of cool. So we had plenty of clay and stuff. So we built the stronghold up on top of the mesa biome and continued work in 1.8 for a while, and eventually, probably about a year later after the 1.8 release, the 1.9 came out. We didn't upgrade till like June of that year, so it came out in like February 2016. We didn't update till like June of 2016. But the plan with that is, in 1.8 they added a bunch of igloos, and in 1.9 they added a bunch more strongholds. So our original 1.7 map had all that ice on it, so my plan was to pull up MC Edit, go in there and block out and get rid of all these extra ice biomes that I didn't need and didn't want, and there's nothing in them. And I figured when we loaded 1.9, they'll just regenerate, we'll get a bunch more ice, but we'll also get a bunch of igloos and strongholds on it, and we should be doing great. So we do the pruning, pop into 1.9, start taking a look around, and we end up with what's called chunk borders. Now the problem with chunk borders are you end up with these gigantic walls where the the new generation and the old generation meet, which creates these big, ugly walls. So either you can manually fix it, or what I found is a plugin for MC Edit. So what you do in the plugin is you load up the 1.8 world, and it goes out and identifies where the boundaries on the borders are. So it makes a little file and records that. So then you go into 1.9, you go to all the borders and generate new land, and then you pop the filter on there, and what it will do now is go over your world, and on all those chunk borders between the two biomes, it'll create a nice little river. And it actually works pretty neat. I think it comes out not bad. It's much better than the chunky walls that you end up. You end up with a pretty good thing. So we did that, and then we kept playing and playing and playing until, during the new versions we had the 110, the 111, the 112, they had a bunch of new toys and stuff to play with. No real new biome updates or anything. So we end up with this full map that we have today. You see where the Mesa biome ocean is down in the far corner on the left, and then up in the top is where the rest of the main world is. We've been kind of up in the very top in the middle there, in the little plain that's kind of circled by sand. That's where we've been doing our stuff. So now with the 1.13 update, it's got all those new biomes for the oceans. It's got a complete new data map, complete new real generation logic, I guess. So it's going to, so I'm kind of worried about how the transition's going to go. So I've kind of been playing around with it, and it looks pretty good. If you go from the 1.12 land, or older, the 1.9 or older land, it generates the same structures. The world, don't have all the chunk borders and stuff. So that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to go through and mark out where all the oceans are on the map, and just prune those with MC Edit like I did last time. So I'll prune all those, and then when we go back into them, the oceans will regenerate. So all the land you see and all the ocean you see here will regenerate in the new version. So that's going to be pretty cool. So then I'll get all the underwater kelp, the shipwrecks, all the new features. And it should not be drab, boring oceans like it is now. Now the one caveat on that one is I cannot do the Mesa biome. The Mesa biome is old school. So what happens on the Mesa biome is it's still in the 1.8 terrain generation. So then I went looking around and snooping on there to see any new terrain generated down there is not going to be ocean. It's going to be desert. So what you end up with is this desert, old style chunk border in the desert. So what would be ideal is to be able to get rid of all that ocean and have nice new ocean features. Well, no, I can't really do that because the terrain in 1.13 is completely different. It's going to be desert and savanna and who knows what else. So I'm going to end up with big, ugly chunk borders I'm going to have to clean up and deal with, and I may make them like cliffs some more or that kind of stuff. You've seen those white cliffs of Dover. They do have ocean cliffs, and I think with a little work of cobblestone diorite and that kind of stuff, we could make them look pretty good. But there you have it. That is the history of the world and the future of the world. So that is where we're going. So I'm going to be working on getting this world converted up to the 1.13. I need to check out a couple things, because what I'm worried about are, there's bugs with, pistons and some redstone junk, and nothing I really worry about. But there are a couple. There's one thing I heard about, if chests are on a chunk border, so you got like a double chest and the chunk boundary runs between it, you can lose your stuff, or it'll scramble it all up, or it'll mess it up. So what I'm going to do is load it, go around and look at all my chests, or just spot check a good majority of them, see if any of them are missing anything, or we lose anything, or it just looks ugly. And I'll check, kind of do a brief run around and see what we have going on. If everything looks good and all goes well, we will be in the new version in the next episode. then we can play with the fish and play with all the shipwrecks and play with all the new features and toys and blocks and all that kind of stuff. And finally get a move on. It's going to be a lot quicker than it was in the last upgrade, but I'm a little more anxious now to see what's going on, because I have played in the new version a bit, and it's exciting and interesting. And finally we got something to do in the ocean, which has been a long time coming, because it's just been water and gravel and nothing else. But I think it's going to be quite a challenge. I think it's going to be kind of fun. We'll continue building on all these things. You know, I've got my towers to build here. I've got a bunch of stuff to finish, so there's no end to the amount of work that I have to go on here. But for the next couple episodes, we'll do some exploring and look around. But that is it for today. I do thank you for watching this. I think it'll be a nice quick video, and I wish you all a great day. Bye bye.